Feel me? Back again. Shit, man. So, like, I've been thinking a lot, especially over this little 4th of July weekend bullshit, you feel me? Because it's just funny. While everybody was distracted, celebrating their quote-unquote independence and shit, it's just funny when you start to look at shit. I want to say from your third eye, right? I like to use that expression because I feel like you're looking at the same shit as other people, but you're seeing it from a different perspective, right? So it's kind of the equivalent. I always say, like, if you're standing on the ground and you're looking at a mountain, right, and that bitch is huge, and you're like, holy shit, it's a fucking mountain, like, what the fuck, right? Like, that's looking at it from, like, your human 2-eye perspective, right? But if you look at it from your third eye, I always say it's like if you're looking at the same mountain, but you're in a helicopter, right? So now you not only see the mountain, but you see everything behind it and around it and everything. So you're looking at the same thing, you just have a different view and a better perspective of it, right? So, it's just funny because people, you know, they just kind of go through life according to a script, right? And that's get a job, fall in line, ask permission if you want to take vacation, retire when you're 70 and old and can't do shit, work your whole life, 5 days a week, be stressed out, only to be happy for 2 days on the weekend, which fucking fly by, and then you're back to it. It's just like everybody, you know. And I was laying in bed this morning, Monday morning, and I was thinking, like, it's a shitload of people out there in the rat race that are stuck in traffic right now that, you know, their alarm went off in the morning and they're rushing to go brush their teeth and rushing to eat breakfast, and then they rush to get in their car, rush to go to work. And it's like, man, you know, like, I know, you know, some people have to do that, and I'm not knocking anybody that has to do that. It is what it is. But I'm saying, like, it's just crazy because this world is it's set up to take your attention, to take your energy. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, right? Now I'm going to get into that, but I want to read what they got on this bitch right here. So it say Monday, July 7th, okay? Serve Jehovah with rejoicing, come into his presence with joyful shouting. Psalms 100, chapter 2, or Psalms chapter 100, verse 2. Okay. Oh, man. Jehovah wants us to serve him happily and willingly. So we should keep working toward a spiritual goal, should we keep working toward a spiritual goal, even if we don't feel like it? Right, okay? So this kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm saying because, you know, most people don't like their jobs, right? They're pissed off when they go. They hate being there. They don't like their coworkers. But it's like, you need to make money. So it's like, what else do you want me to do? Like, I gotta fucking pay bills. So it's like, I gotta work this job, you know? Okay, so it says, should we keep working toward a spiritual goal even if we do not feel like it? Consider the Apostle Paul's example. He said, I strictly discipline my body and lead it as a slave. Okay. Paul forced himself to do what is right, even when he may have felt inclined to do otherwise. Did Jehovah approve of Paul's service? Definitely. And Jehovah rewarded him for his efforts. Similarly, Jehovah is pleased to see us working hard toward our goal, even when we do not feel motivated to do so. He is pleased because although we may not always be doing it out of love for the activity, he knows that we are doing it out of love for him. My nigga, what? Just as Jehovah blessed Paul, he will bless us for our efforts. And as we are experiencing Jehovah's blessings, we may even start to feel motivated, okay? And so, like I said, a lot of people will read this and see it from the aspect of standing on the ground looking at a mountain. Okay, but when I see this, why would I do something I don't want to do? I'm the one that lives this life. I'm the one that has to experience this life. I'm the only one that has my own thoughts, that has the consequences of my actions. So if I don't want to do something, why would I do it? But what happens in this life and in religion, in the job market, in entertainment, whatever it is, they sell you an idea that's not yours. And they create a demand for it so you feel like it's something that you need or it's something that you want to do. When in reality, the idea is not yours. The idea was planted in your head, and now you feel like you have to do it. You feel like it's something that you want. But if you were to sit down and think about the things that you really want out of life, and then look at the things that you're doing, a lot of times it doesn't fucking add up, right? And I'm not here to speak on anybody else, right? So I'm gonna just apply this to myself. So there was a point in time, like, okay, so I always wanted money, right? I always wanted to travel. I always wanted to be spontaneous, go on adventures, see the world, see places, right? Those were things that I always wanted, from a kid all the way to now, right? Okay, and so there was a point in time when if I had to sit down and look at my life, I was working a 9 to 5. I was part of a religion. Okay, so if I want to make a lot of money and travel, working a 9 to 5 isn't going to get me there, right? Working a 9 to 5 is just going to allow me to pay my bills, barely, right? Maybe buy some groceries, buy some gas, and then I'm broke, so then it just loops, and then I just do it again. And then it's just a loop, it's a circle, and I'm just caught in that loop forever, right? So the only way, if I want to travel, working a 9 to 5, I maybe get a couple days out of the year. And then I have to ask permission if I could get those days, right? So this isn't I don't want these things, right? This isn't what I want to do, but I'm just in a position where I feel like I have to do it. And that's this. Paul forced himself to do what is right, even when he may and I felt inclined to do otherwise, right? So it's like, if that's the case, are you really, or was I really living the life that I wanted to live, right? So I really had to step back and ask myself, okay, like, what the fuck? What the fuck is really going on, right? And so now, I've been hearing a lot of things about energy harvesting, right? And it sounds fucking crazy. And I think the first time I seen or heard it was like a video on TikTok, and they were talking about theme parks and how theme parks harvest your energy. And I'm like, what? Like, that shit don't even make sense. Like, what the fuck are they talking about, right? But then I got to thinking about it. And it's not in the sense where they're like, you hop on a roller coaster and you scream, and it's not like some Monsters Inc. and like they take the scream and they bottle it up. It's not like that, right? And Monsters Inc. is a good movie, and they portrayed it in a way where it would appeal to catch your attention, right? But what energy harvesting means is just whatever. Okay, look, I wrote some shit, right? And I'm gonna read it. Right now, and then I'm gonna explain it. Hold on, let me find it. Okay, so this is what I wrote. It says, the world runs off energy, in the sense that the more people that give attention and energy to something, the more popular it is. Therefore, they can profit off of it, which is why money turns into energy, and energy is money. Everything in the world was created to take your energy and attention away from yourself. They do this through jobs, entertainment, social media, religion, and many other forms. It's all meant to keep you busy and distracted, so you never have time or energy to look inward. But when you realize things only exist when you pay attention or give them energy, and the more people that give their energy or attention to one particular thing is going to make it more popular, which in turn will generate more money from it. So if the whole collective consciousness of people can be controlled or manipulated, your energy is being harvested and collected to promote, popularize, and monetize something outside of you. So when you realize you are the source, and the only reason why things exist outside of you is because you give them energy and attention, you can flip the script and point your awareness inward. Now you point your energy into yourself, and you start attracting everything that was meant for you and repelling everything that's not. You start to see your reality change, and your life starts falling into place. Don't let outside circumstances affect how you feel inside. Instead, let how you feel inside determine what your outside circumstances look like. You are the source. Things only exist because you give them attention and energy. So create the things you want by focused attention. Okay? I hope that made sense, because religion, and this specifically does that, because like it's saying right here, Paul was doing something and giving attention to something outside of himself, something that he didn't even want to do. Right? It says he forced himself to do what was right, quote unquote, what was right, Because that's what Jehovah wanted him to do, right? But the point is, he forced himself. It says, I strictly discipline my body and lead it as a slave. That's not normal. Like, you shouldn't have to do that in life. You should just be able to be happy and to live. If you have to force yourself and lead yourself as a slave, you're probably doing something against yourself. And you are the source, my nigga. Like, you are the source. They have the saying, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, doesn't make a noise. Right? If you're not paying attention to something, okay, like we'll take fucking NASCAR, for example, right? If they made an announcement that NASCAR was being shut down and there was going to be no more races, NASCAR is ending, that makes no difference in my life whatsoever, because I don't pay attention to NASCAR, I don't watch NASCAR, I don't know anything about NASCAR. So that tree falling in the forest made no noise in my life, right? Now, there are people that work for NASCAR or that invest in NASCAR and that race for NASCAR, which they give their attention and energy to. So it exists in their life. So whatever you give your energy and attention to, you cause it to exist. And like I said in the little shit that I wrote, if they can control the collective consciousness of people, right? The more people that give energy and attention to something, the bigger and more popular it is, right? So the bigger something is, they're making money off of it. You're probably investing in it. You might be buying tickets to it. You might, whatever the fuck it is. But the point is that it's outside of you. So imagine if you took that energy and attention and you sat down with yourself and you said, okay, what do I really want out of life? What are my dreams? What are my desires? What are my goals? And you said, okay, you know what? I'm going to give my attention and energy to that, right? And shit's hard to do in this life because everything's set up to where you got, this bill you got to pay, and then you got to get gas, and then this is coming up, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. But that's the point. That's what they want. They want you so drained and so tired that you don't look inside. You don't realize how powerful you are as an individual because you're so busy giving your attention and energy to all these things outside of you that by the time you get back to the crib after work or whatever the fuck, you're so drained and tired, all you can do is maybe eat dinner, take in some entertainment that they want you to take in on TV, and then you're asleep getting ready to do this shit all over again. What kind of life is that? That's not a personal, that's not your life. That's a life being scripted. You're promoting somebody else's business. You're making somebody else rich. You're driving money for somebody else while you're just barely scraping by at the bottom. And I live that life and I know how that shit is, and it's like, I was doing this shit and it didn't make sense to my soul. It didn't make sense to me. And I had to stop and think like, yo, what the fuck is really going on out here? And I feel like when you look at things, I call that your third eye, right? Because you're looking at the same shit as everybody else. You're just seeing it from a different angle or a different aspect, right? So it's kind of like that helicopter view where you can kind of see everything for what it is. And when you see things like that, that mountain isn't so big. It's not insurmountable, right? When you're standing looking at a mountain straight on, that bitch is huge as fuck. There's no, like, how the fuck am I going to get over this fucking mountain? But you hop up in that helicopter and you can glide right over that bitch. And you see everything around it, right? So you start to look at things different. You start to solve things different. And when you do that, you attract different things into your life, right? So the whole time we're here on earth, we're taught to fall in line, like I said, to raise your hand when you have a question, to ask permission if you want to go on vacation, to fucking be stressed out. Like, that, it just gets conditioned in our minds so much that it just becomes second nature, right? And you think anything outside of that is wrong, right? You think you always have to be working hard. Like, they push working hard so much because they want your energy. They want your attention because it drives popularity, it drives money when you can put that into yourself. And it's hard to do. It's hard to escape the rat race. It's hard to escape the bullshit. But when you do, and you point that shit inside of you, you start to realize how powerful you are, and you realize that you are the source, and shit only exists because of you. Right? Shit only exists because of you. So if that's the case, put that attention and that energy on the things you really want, on the things that you really want to create, the things you want to see. And what you will notice is your reality will shift, and you will start to live in that dream and that desire that you had in your head that you always wanted. You will start to bring those things to life because now you're giving it attention and you're giving it energy. Oh, man. I hope that made sense. I'm gonna just leave it at that. You feel me? I'm gonna just leave it at that. Shit. Yeah. Yeah.